Hello and welcome to Final Fantasy XIV, where we today want to start the Endwalker expansion. Finally. Anyway, we start, in the headquarters of the Science of the Seventh Dawn with Alvino, the next ship to sail. Desiree, do you have some time to talk? Alright. I would like to gather everyone in Dawn's respite and together assess the situation in which we find ourselves. Let us take stock of the facts, shall we? The crisis at hand began with a sudden appearance of ominous towers in a multitude of locations throughout the world. We have since learned that said structures were brought into being by an organization known as the Telophoroi. The Telophoroi's stated purpose is to recreate the final days of eons past, an apocalyptic event that would result in the destruction of all we hold dear. Already have these towers of theirs been the cause of untold suffering. Countless innocents kidnapped and imprisoned, their faith perverted for primal summonings. And unless we find a way to deal with the corruptive aura surrounding the spires, we can't even get close enough to rescue anyone. Those shielded with the blessing of light seem to be able to resist being tempered at least. But after what happened with Arenwald and Fordola, we need to be very, very careful about how we proceed. Yet while these threats close to home are of paramount concern, we mustn't lose sight of the situation in Garlemald. As you know, the Telophoroi are under the leadership of Van Daniel and one other delightful fellow, Xenos Ye Galvas, the Crown Prince and our dear friend. To date, he reclaimed his old body, murdered Emperor Varus, and plunged Garlemald into an even deeper pit of chaos. The capital has probably seen the worst of it. For a good while there, it saw the bloodiest fighting in the War of Succession, but that has since changed, and in troubling ways. Aye, during our reconnaissance, the air was not once rent by the barking of cannons or the cries of discord. It was an eerie fog of silence, which did blanket that ruined city. The inhabitants appeared to have been tempered, and with nary a word spoken did they labor to transform the palace into a soaring edifice born of nightmares. If they were indeed made thralls, it seems safe to assume that these events, too, were orchestrated by the Telophoroi. An army of primates is awful enough, but in light of recent developments, I fear it is only the prelude to an even greater catastrophe. We need to devise a means to counter this threat, and quickly, before our allies are overwhelmed. We shall find a way in We will find a way in Sharlayan, I'm sure of it. Master Fortunate's comments regarding the final days were curious to say the least. The forum knows more than it's letting on. Sorry to interrupt. We just received word from Mrs. Krile. She says that arrangements for her visit have been finalized. You're to head to Limsa Lominsa and board the next ship bound for Sharlayan. And on arrival, present yourselves as associates of the students of Baldessian, come to assist with the Order's restoration. The arrangements may be settled, but what of your thoughts? They must race at the prospect of returning home after so long. I'm eager to see, of course. Of course. We should set off at once. When I accompany you to the docks, need at least one person there to wave and cry and wish you a safe journey. Now, just for the information, this is not blind, or this is not right at the start of Endwalker, after release of Endwalker, because I was one of the people who had a weird sound bug due to hardware issues in the beginning of Endwalker, and I tried recording it. I did, in fact, the start, and then decided, no, this is barely tolerable when I listen to it. This is not something I can offer to anyone else. So, Desiree will take over here, for this expansion at least. I might have lived in Master Matoya's cave for a good part of my life, but even for me the thought of returning to Sharlayan is quite exciting. I can hardly imagine how it is for the others who lived most of their lives there. What a grim reason to bring you to Sharlayan. Not much to be done about it, I suppose, but I would have liked to give you a grand tour under happier circumstances. Though a part of me looks forward to returning home, I've not forgotten that my father stripped us of the privileges of our family name. I hope it doesn't cause trouble with the officials upon our arrival. I never thought the day would come that I would be sailing home again. It always seemed so very far away. Sea travel can be tedious, but I don't mind it. It is a rare experience for most Ishgardians. I shudder to think what manner of truth awaited us beyond the Indigo Deep. Still more do I dread the prospect of discussions long overdue. Contrary to what you might think, this will be like going home for me as well. I may have learned how to survive in Nimsalominsa, but it was in Sharlayan where I was taught, quite relentlessly, might I add, skills to properly live. Everyone's here, which is good because I've already paid for your passage and the fee is non-refundable. The ship for Sharlayan should be pulling into port soon, so please follow me and have all your luggage close at hand. Is that Momozigo from the Samurai Crest? He looked like it. But who knows, maybe it's just a...
They've almost finished loading our cargo. We should be ready to depart right on schedule. Or so I'm told.
A random Lalafell.
Excellent. 'Tis nice to have a smooth beginning to one's journey, at the very least.
It's funny. Master Louis Soir came here on a ship very much like this one. And now, years later, the street urchin he befriended that day is bound for his mentor's homeland. With his mentor's grandchildren, no less.
Aye. 'Tis upon reflection that every twist of time's river and fate's whims are brought into sharp relief. Thou hast matured much in the intervening years. Wert thou not caught attempting to relieve Master Louis Soir of his purse scant moments after he made landfall upon this dock?
Oh, really? Now that's a tale I'd like to hear.
Everyone's laughing.
Will this be your first visit to Sharlayan, Sir Estinian? Sir Estinian?
Are we strangers newly met? Why this stiff formality?
I, merely meant it as a professional courtesy, since we are now colleagues in an official sense.
I'd rather you dispense with the sirs, especially in private company. Or I'll be forced to respond in kind, little Lord Alphino.
You've made your point, Estinian. Painfully well.
Better. Are you all right, Tataru? You seem positively distraught.
Distraught? Me? Don't be silly. I think it's lovely that they get to see their homeland. It's just, we're trying to thwart the schemes of an army hellbent on destroying the world. And, once again, I have to stay behind and worry that this is the last time I'll get to see my friends.
I'll bring my back safe and sound, I promise.
I'll hold you to that.
Ah, good. You're still here.
Hori Boulder.
Hori! Kultine! What brings you all this way?
We're to assist the Maelstrom and the Kobolds with a lunar primal operation, so we thought we'd see you off before heading to the tower. Flamine and the others wish you all a safe journey, and promise that they'll look after things here until you return. We will too, of course. Aye, we, your fellow Scions of the Seventh Dawn, will do our part to ensure the end of the world won't happen on our watch.
We're set to sail! All aboard for Sharlayan!
It's time.
Let's go.
Then we must delay no longer. We will contact you the moment we learn aught of value. Wish us luck.
Have a safe journey, and please, be careful.
Let's hope we don't find ghost islands on the way this time. Like on the journey to Doma. Or Kugane rather. Bing, bing, bing.
And so you venture forth unto the unknown. A fate beyond the horizon that cannot be divined. A future undefined and in flux. In uncertain times, naught but the simplest words of wisdom will suffice. That which lives is destined to die. Love leads to loss. Every beginning has an end. Treasure every moment, every step of your descent.
All right, MSQ.
And there, in the depths where souls and stars rest, find your truth.
MSQ's ghost is talking to us. Or about us, or... who knows?
Here. Feel. Think.
The day has barely dawned, my fellow earlier riser. Though we're hardly alone in that. Envious of those still sleeping soundly, no doubt. Called out to you, you say? I've heard nothing myself.
Yeah, sounded like Heidelin.
In any case, I dare say the sea air will do you good. Why not join the others on deck? Sharlayan should be coming into view at any moment.
My voice yet reaches you. I am glad. Hear, feel, think. And thus do we meet face to face at last, my warrior of light, guided by the crystal.
Why now, Heidelin?
After your sojourn in Thirst, I believe you have your answer. You have gained an understanding of what I truly am, what Heidelin has always been, a primal.
Yes.
Zodiac was created to forestall the apocalypse which threatened the ancient world, and I was brought forth to bind him. Yet 7 times now, those who would orchestrate a return to that bygone era have rejoined a shard to the god I had sundered. The greater his strength grows, the swifter does mine own diminish. The power to draw your mind into the rift betwixt is no longer mine to wield. Yet though it taxes me sorely, I dare not leave these words unsaid. Even bereft of my guidance, you and your companions have accepted the burden of this star's troubled past. A conjunction has begun to form, an intertwining of your time and mine.
All right.
Wheels shudder and turn. Conflict looms. Monumental. Which will decide the fate of this world and all life upon it. When you truly understand what is at stake, and your journey has prepared you to surmount the insurmountable, then shall I honor the promise made in another time, another age.
Cast your peepers to the fore, folks. Sharlayan's just over yonder.
I will not keep you further. Your traveler's heart must yearn to behold this unfamiliar land. We shall meet again, and soon.
That was cryptic. Good morning.
Oh, what a fine morning. Still a bit stiff, though.
And a good morning to you too. Taking a look at the island already?
Nope.
Then let's go. Let's go! Might still be room in the prow if we're lucky.
Ah, the sleepers have arisen. There she is. Good old Sharlayan.
Oh, I see it.
Home. Home at last. Well, maybe not in Father's eyes. But we'll manage on our own, if we must.
You do know you're not alone in this, don't you?
Indeed, 'tis as Sir Estinian saith. Forget not the comrades who boarded this ship at your side, I prithee.
Thank you, my friends. We are ever grateful for your steadfast support.
Upon arrival, we will be disembarking into the heart of Sharlayan proper. There is no greater concentration of wisdom in all the world. I am confident that somewhere within that center of knowledge and learning, we will find the answers we seek.
Endwalker.
Sharlayan, the solitary island nation of the northern seas. Where under the watchful gaze of Thaliak, patron deity of scholars, academics hoard all manner of knowledge and secrets. Once, they deigned to accept foreign students into a distant colony maintained in the Dravanian hinterlands. How swiftly they abandoned it once the first Garlean boot set hostile foot on Alamegan soil. So averse to the prosecution of war, these men of wisdom, your would-be allies.
I'm head nodding to Emmett's comment about them.
I thought they'd never let us off the ship. What's next then? Entry applications?
Hopefully they find no cause to deny us.
Hasn't Sharlayan all but severed relations with foreign powers? Those of us without direct ties, myself included, may be refused outright.
'Tis true that, as a nation, Sharlayan only forms trade agreements with a select few neutral countries. But from a practical standpoint, an island cannot afford to be overly strict with its borders, especially not if that island's people are wholly devoted to the accumulation of knowledge. If one submits the proper paperwork with satisfactory evidence of identity and intent, then foreigners may be granted entry.
May.
Quite. So let us be absolutely clear on these points before we proceed. The immigration officer will ask for your affiliation and your purpose of visit. Considering Sharlayan's views on intervention, I strongly suggest we avoid any mention of the Scions. Krile has laid the groundwork for us to act as associates of the students of Baldessian, and our ostensible reason for being here is to aid in their order's restoration. Grahatir, it might expedite our progress should an actual student be seen at the head of our little group. Would you mind leading the way?
Of course. The immigration offices were this way, as I recall.
Open air office?
Greetings. We've just arrived and are eager to make our way into the city. Would you be so kind as to process our entry applications?
Certainly. I see by your mark you are an Archon.
I am. Grahatir of the Students of Baldessian at your service. I was assigned to an Eorzean survey team, but have returned to assist with the reformation of my order. My associates here will provide additional support.
Very good. I have paperwork detailing your group and its scheduled arrival for today. And it seems some few of your companions are also Archons. If you'll step forward, we can process those applications first.
Ishtola rule.
And why is the Stoller the only one who is allowed to speak her name?
See how it glows. That list is etherically linked with the citizen registry kept in the main repository.
All right.
I've confirmed your status as Archons and amended your travel records accordingly. Welcome home. Now, who do we have here?
Alphino Leveilleur.
And Alize Leveilleur.
Your applications have also been approved. Having said that, the streets are abuzz with talk of how House Leveilleur's lord disowned his young progeny. And while such personal circumstances constitute no reason to deny you entry, I urge you to avoid exacerbating your present situation. Times are quite troubled enough already.
We shall keep that in mind.
These last two are not Sharlayan natives, but you will find their credentials are in order. An application was made in advance.
Name and occupation?
Now, champion of Eorzea would be cocky and stupid, yeah? Adventurer is fine. But I go with artisan. as a crafter, because I think Sharlayans would approve more of that attitude than of adventurers who regularly fight monsters and all that. I go with artisan.
Indeed. Your profile describes you as an adventurer, but one also trained in the rather more constructive pursuits of procurement and production. You may enter. And you, sir?
Estinian Valeno, formerly of the Order of the Knights Dragoon in Ishgard.
Formerly, at least. And what, pray tell, is your profession now?
If you'll allow me...
Hi, Krile.
My associate is a mercenary, hired for his strength at arms. Surely you are aware of the dangers we often face on our forays into the wilderness.
Mistress Baldessian, if you insist on sponsoring his entry, then so be it. But while I appreciate that desperate times call for desperate measures, I find your choice of company concerning. Be advised that even a single misstep may have severe repercussions for your organization.
I have every confidence in my chosen company, dear and trusted comrades that they are. But I thank you for your concern.
Krile! It is good to see you.
Don't make trouble for the officials. I know they can come across as rude, but you are one of tens of thousands of people we have to deal with, and there will be assholes among those. So try to be nice, and usually they try the same in return.
Likewise. Long voyage notwithstanding, you will seem none the worse for wear. There is much to discuss, but this is hardly the place. Let's be on our way, shall we? Oh! Welcome, friends, to Sharlayan.
Good to be here.
As your mercenary, I should hope my welcome includes a generous salary.
Well, I had to say something, Sir Taciturn.
Alright, with that we reach Sharlayan. Next time we look around here and... yeah. Until next time then, I'm Mace and don't get lost.